It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day to ask a gay doc with Dr. Renzo Corzano of Desert Oasis Healthcare. Hey, Dr. Renzo, how you doing today?
I'm all right, John. I think we're both sick.
Yeah, I caught something in Germany. I think they call it their Schnupfen in German, basically just a really bad head cold that's been lingering on. So I've missed all the holiday parties.
Yeah. I don't know what I have. It's just something.
Yeah, it's just something. No, you didn't get tested positive for COVID. You didn't test
No,
positive for flu.
no. So, but it feels like COVID, so it's probably one of the many different viruses we can get, I suppose.
You know, we saw a lot of hubbub about the bird flu being in so many thousands of cows in the state of California, and that was transmitted zoologically from an animal to a human in Louisiana. Do we have something to worry about with the bird flu?
Oh, that's such a good question. I would say yes and no. Okay, so I actually was reading up on this yesterday, surprisingly enough. Um, basically, we haven't seen human to human transmission yet, so that's actually a really good thing. But the worry is that, it's going to infect one of the dairy workers with, the bird flu, and then that dairy worker is also going to get like the regular seasonal influenza that affects humans. And then they'll come in contact with two viruses, and then they can shuffle their DNAs and then basically make a brand new virus that can actually infect people, like, from people to people. So that's something that they're kind of, worried about, and they're kind of looking at that and following that closely.
We don't want a mutation.
We definitely do not of the H5N1 for sure. So,
Sorry, mutants out there. I'm not being anti-mutant, but we don't want a mutation of the bird flu virus. We don't need a pandemic.
we do not need another pandemic.
Now, in today's episode of Ask a Gay Doc, there have been questions about herpes, and you have answers.
Yes. So the main point I want to make about herpes is that if anyone has like a sore, in their skin or their genitals, their lip area, even sometimes potentially inside their mouth, not to assume that it's just herpes, because sometimes these lesions could be misrepresented for herpes when they're really probably syphilis. And so what I've seen a couple times recently in my clinic is, patients coming in, they're saying, they had this sore in their genital, and they were saying it was painless. And it was like such an in passing comment, like, oh, I had this sore that kind of went away. And I said, well, did it hurt or did it not hurt? And they said, yeah, it didn't hurt at all. And usually sores that are painless, they tend to be syphilis. So
Ah,
it's not a good idea to just assume that it's a herpes sore, because, with syphilis, it kind of has to be treated. Whereas with herpes, it's kind of one of those um, mostly cosmetic things that you kind of want to give the antiviral to bring it down. But there are other things that, with like an open active herpes sore, you are at a higher risk of contracting things like HIV if you're negative.
so if anybody has a sore of any kind, painless or pain-free, you should be treating it and talking to your doctor, and don't just mention it in passing.
Right, definitely. Just because, you never want to know. And this particular case that I'm bringing up, I mean, that person actually, that was a syphilis sore, because their syphilis titer was actually very high. So that's like an example of not just, assuming that it's, just herpes when it's actually syphilis.
But people could go to the internet and find out, right?
That's true, actually. Yeah, I guess you could do that.
I'm sorry. I know you get a lot of people that have already gone to Dr. Google, and then they didn't get the answer they wanted, so then they go to their primary care physician and hopefully get the right answer.
Right. I mean, most of the time, like, herpes infections tend to be recurrent. So like you get it one time and then it goes dormant for a really long time, and then it just kind of reactivates. So a lot of the times people are very aware that that's what it is, because they've had it before.
Right.
But with this one patient, I asked him, I said, well, how do you know it was herpes? And then he said, well, I don't. I just kind of thought it was, you know? And he actually had never had like an actual herpes outbreak, so I don't think he actually knew what it was supposed to kind of feel like. So
Well, it is the season. With whatever you have that ails you, you should talk to your doctor because there's a lot of bad stuff going around.
absolutely, man, no judgment.
No, and that's why we like a doctor like you, that we can ask a gay doc by sending a question in to lgbtqhealth at mydohc.com. Dr. Renzo Corzano would be happy to answer your questions, whether you're his patient or not. You don't have to divulge your identity. We respect your HIPAA rights and your privacy, but we do want to get you the right information. And Ask a Gay Doc is a service of Desert Oasis Healthcare.
Your health, your life, our passion.
Well said.
It'll make me laugh.
Sorry, I know it'll start you coughing, right? Good thing we're in our own little plastic bubbles. Hey, it's John Taylor. Thanks for watching our video. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our KGAY channel so you won't miss anything going on in the neighborhood. And you can always listen live to KGAYPalmSprings.com.